Hi, everyone, and welcome. This is Alisha Braché here at Cosmic Gateway, and I would absolutely love to introduce you to one of my beautiful, gorgeous, stunning, um, favorite people, soul sister in the world, Zahra. Zahra, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
This is this is another cosmic conversation, and there'll be a series of these rolling out throughout the next month or so. And I'm just so excited to be collaborating with so many amazing people from around the globe who've been such a significant part of my journey, and people that I am in contact with regularly, who we have these amazing cosmic conversations just on the fly. And so the idea is to kind of record them and bring them all to you. So thank you, Zahra, for being here, and I'm really excited to collaborate. And I will put the details in the description box below, and maybe we'll talk about when we're closing out. But you've just started. Well, you've just started to build your own Guidance by Z on Facebook, and do you want to talk a little bit about like the birth of the creation of Guidance by Z?
Oh, birth and creation are perfect terms to describe what's happened here. I feel like I've been thrust forcefully through the birth canal of life to bring this out to all of you. And by birth canal, I mean Alisha. It's this is something that has been like something I've been wanting to do for a really, really long time, and been way too scared to make that leap to come out of the spiritual closet. So I was kind of like secretly wrote under other people's pages. I started under, Ascension diaries, and then, I was on a few other pages, contributing writing, contributing editing for other pages. And then I had my own little secret group, and then I'm like, forget it. I'm coming out there. There's just too many people. There's too many people that I connect with daily that, are guided to the way that I write, the way that I see things, and helping people go through, healing whatever it is that they are going through. And it's been something that I share a lot of what I went through and how it's helped me, and it's brought me the wisdom that I wish to impart on others, and allows me to heal people and connect as well. So, yep. There it is.
Beautiful. Beautiful summary. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I think it's so important to share like what you just said in the fear of coming out of the spiritual closet. And I know that that's a big one for so many people. Even I, went through that a little bit, but different layers of that. But and I think that perhaps part of, I don't even fully understand yet the reason for doing these cosmic conversations, but I think a big part of that, or the intention behind that, is to normalize a lot of what we're all going through and experiencing, and bringing different people to talk about their skills and their abilities and their gifts and what they've got to offer, but also to talk a little bit about their personal journey and what has brought them to where they are today, to help more people be able to step into that and step into their personal power and like get out there and shine their light on the world more. So thank you. And I guess just a like throwback that you have been, people may have seen you on Ascension Diaries as co-writer, and I think you were on an episode or two with Alexis, and big shout out to her. Love her work. We'll get her on. And that's how we connected, going back, let's say 12 months ago. So yeah, tell us a little bit, like going back, about what your journey was like, and how like Ascension Diaries, or I think it was the Schumann Diary.
Then, yeah.
I'll hand it over to you.
One thing that I just wanted to say, and it kind of is a jumping off point, is that I'm not one of those woo-woo spiritual people. And, there's this misconception that, Ascension and talking about spirituality and tarot and gifts, the psychic gifts that we're coming into, and the healing and the journey that we're going through, is is limited or only experienced or understood by a certain type of person. And I am most definitely not that type of person. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but for the very, very long time, I didn't think that I was good enough because I wasn't that type of person. And what I've noticed is a lot of people have come into my life that are not that type of people, but that are very 3D, possibly business minded, very different type of people that may or may not resonate with the traditional spiritual woo-woo type of person. And they connect with me because I'm a bit more, I don't know, not. And it's intimidating to talk to someone who is, because they have this air of knowing so much. And I think that we spend so much of our time going through this journey wanting to understand things, but then sometimes things don't resonate out there. So that's kind of what brought me into Schumann diaries and Ascension diaries, and coming into things that way. I have been on consciously an awakening journey for about 2.5, 3 years now. But just over a year ago, I was experiencing a lot of ascension symptoms, a lot of symptoms in my body, sudden anxiety and panic attacks, so many other symptoms. I was feeling waves of energy going through my body, and I'm not like that. So I didn't really understand what was going on. And I resonate most with science, not necessarily medical, but with science. And, ever since I was younger, I always experienced migraines with aura, and I understood that migraines happened to me with the change of weather and barometric pressure. So I understood that there was a science behind what was happening to my mind for when I was having headaches. I was going numb in my body, and I understood the correlation of science and what was happening in my body, and that I was always safe. So I figured there must be some kind of scientific reason why I was experiencing sudden waves of anxiety for absolutely no reason whatsoever. And so I started doing research online and came across what very, very little information back then, but about the Schumann resonance. And the only resource, the only person talking about it back then was Alexis Buck. And she was on, Ascension Diary, or she was on writing, or she owns Schumann Diaries. And, it was a very small group of people that were, it was in its infancy at that point. And I reached out to her and I said, hey, I want to talk to you. Can you please explain to me what's going on with my body? Can you explain this to me? Is there a correlation between what you're talking about with the Schumann resonance and what's happening with the symptoms wise? And we ended up connecting a few months later, and became friends right away. And, she allowed me the platform to share kind of what I was feeling in my body, because I was a bit more sensitive to the energy fluctuations than she was, because she was in a different stage in her ascension journey. And so I began writing for her, talking about, kind of my experience, what I was feeling, correlating that to the timing of the Schumann spikes, and how high the spikes are going, and comparing them to kind of how I was feeling. And it got to the point where I was so in tune with my body and so in tune with the Schumann that I would be driving on the highway and I would feel the waves of energy, and I'd have to pull over and post about it. And sure enough, there's hundreds of people that were feeling exactly the same way. And that was just kind of how I came into that world. And it's how you and I connected.
Yeah, I've never heard you talk about that so beautifully, and we talk a lot about a lot of stuff, and I've never heard you talk about that, but it reminds me a little bit about my own journey into the initiation into the Schumann, and that's exactly how we connected, because we do feel things very similarly, like it's not identical, but we do have that sensitivity. And of course, like a lot of people have reached out to me, and I do plan to bring Alexis on here to talk more about the science, because people reach out to me and ask me what the lines mean, and I'll be honest, I have no idea. That's not my forte. I don't really understand it, and I probably don't even have the patience to really grasp onto it. And that's where it's so great that there's so many of us that have our different skill sets, because Alexis is amazing at deciphering that kind of data, and she does amazing work. So yeah, just thank you for we weren't even planning to talk about Schumann here, but here we go.
It's a part of the journey. And, you know, I mean, she does a really good job on her page and on her channel, you know, discussing, you know, not various metrics of ascension energies, not just a Schumann anymore, but there's so much more. And I know you talk about it on Cosmic Gateway, and it's she goes into a lot more scientific angles on those things. And so I think that she's a phenomenal resource. And, you know, there's so many more people that are asking questions about it. I'm noticing, you know, people that are not even of the spiritual community are suddenly posting scientific posts on Facebook about, you know, the Schumann resonance, and people are saying, "Oh, that's interesting. That makes sense. We need to talk."
Yeah, right. I love it. Yeah, definitely. I think the Schumann has really like brought people like yourself into a world of understanding it from a different level. And I think it's great that, you know, there is that resource and it can be measured. And I know for me, it's just your journey sounds very similar in the sense that going back, you know, a few years prior, for me, it was like solar activity. And I noticed these waves of anxiety that were rippling through my body for no reason. And it took me a lot of years of observation until I felt like I nailed it. It was like, oh, when there's a sun, literally, when there's a sunspot leaving, you know, the sun, then I get a wave of anxiety. It lasts for approximately 2 to 3 hours. And then, like, I could nail it, you know. And one thing that I do want to point out, I think I've spoken about this, is it does change as our frequency filters more light and we release a lot of our density energetically. I just really want to reiterate that to those who are becoming online and sensitive, is that you're not going to have those waves of anxiety forever. It will, you know, it will evolve.
That was exactly what I was going to say too, is I'm not sensitive to them anymore. I can feel them going through my body, but it's like, oh, okay. Like I don't even notice that. I'm not even that consciously aware of it because I've done so much work and healing, and you know, my density has changed for a reason, and you know, I feel other things now. But it's not as crazy. We rushed to the emergency in an ambulance while I'm at work doing a Schumann spike. That was fun.
Oh wow!
We don't need to go there, but you know, the Schumann resonance is just one part of the journey. And I want to kind of throw in there as well, just to be vulnerably open, is that I was also going through a twin flame journey as well, or what I suspected to be that. And it was happening congruently at the same time of my awakening to the Schumann. I was also kind of going through, you know, the runner chaser crap, you know, at the same time. And I'm at a point now where I recognize that they were one and the same. They were all connected, right? But we don't realize that, you know, it's all connected, and that's just the multidimensionality of the journey, of the experience. And I think this is so good that we're having, you know, that you're having these cosmic conversations with so many people to bring those resources out to everybody, so that people can, you know, understand kind of what they're going through. And you're not crazy, people. You're okay. It's gonna be fine. Just eat some tacos, you'll be fine.
I don't know if this is appropriate, but I just wanted to say that, like, you recently put out on Guidance by Z, like the card, choose a card reading, and I loved it, and they were great. And sorry, just as I was going to bed last night, I'm constantly randomly processing, you know, just so much information. And this thought came into my head. I was like, oh, it worked, you know, that was really great. And then I was like, she used like cutlery. Like, you used a fork.
I did.
and I was like, that is so Zahra, because
I'm a Taurus.
I'm sorry, but like, I just
there was a reason for it. There was a reason
maybe
for the
just explain that, because that's a bit of an in-joke between us. So.
Well, first of all, I'm a Taurus, and if anyone knows astrology, knows that Taurus people are generally lazy and love to eat a lot of food. So the way to my heart is to feed me. So yes, Alisha and I, we spend a lot of time talking about food, and we felt
Just
that
interject because my rising's in Taurus. So yeah.
this makes so much sense. Yeah, for probably the first 8 months of us talking, tacos were Ascension food. And actually had a theory behind why tacos were Ascension food, because it was a way for us to eat, to nourish our hearts and our souls through food. If you think about a traditional Mexican taco, every layer that is put in a taco has been made thoughtfully with love. So you have the tortilla, it's been made with love, and then you put the meat and the fixings, and every single layer of it is made with love, and you put it all together in this like love taco, and you eat that. It's like you're eating all the energy of the person who made that taco. Right? It's not just like a junky fast food thing. It's like a beautiful way of nourishing and putting energy and intention into your body. So we joke that tacos are Ascension food, but really the energy that you're putting into your body really is nourishing, and that's why we feel so satisfied afterwards. It's that intention. The reason why I used cutlery for my pick a card reading, my first ever Tarot Tuesday, not Taco Tuesday. Oh, I just realized what I did. Mind blown. Anyways, the reason why I use cutlery is because I felt that the messages were meant to nourish you.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I'm going to stick with that.
Yeah, like, you know what, I was having these visions of you like going to the next level, and like instead of cutlery it's like a taco.
I'll just have to call my Uber Eats driver and just, I'm going to need a taco, a samosa, and some sushi. No, let's stop talking about food.
Anyway, yeah, sorry. I want to go back because we sidetrack as we do. But you were talking about, I think that's a really good point to kind of dive in a little bit and to talk about a little bit. And then I think what we'll do is we may do a series of these, because I think there's so much content. So and I'm conscious of time because I know it's late for you and it's like stinking hot here for me and you're freezing cold. It's so, Zahra's located in Vancouver in Canada, and I'm in Melbourne, Australia. So we're in the different ends of the planet. And anyway, I want to go back to, you were talking about, your twin experience and how that interlinked with the Schumann and the Ascension symptoms, and I didn't want to cut you off there, but maybe we can.
No, that's literally it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know if there's any questions. I mean, we could have a series of discussions just on the twin journey in general, anyways. Wow. So, but yeah. I mean, yeah. We
can postpone that for the next cosmic conversation, because I think that that's a topic that we could probably record for a couple of hours.
I think we had a 4-hour conversation about our differences of opinion and similarities of opinion on the twin experience. But what I do want to say is that having gone through the experience that I did, whatever it was, whatever label you want to throw on it, brought me into getting to know you better, because I came in for some work with you. I didn't actually physically come in because that'd be a long time. But I did your program, and it definitely helped in so many ways to not only deal with the emotional fallout of that, but also in dealing with healing of the self and self-love, which is a lot of the flavor of the work I do on Guidance by Z, and also in terms of being able to heal myself and kind of deal with fluctuations of energies and fluctuations of healing the self and all the multidimensional bodies and so yeah, that's how we got closer.
And thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And that was such a beautiful journey. I guess that the course that Zahra's talking about is my self-mastery personal ascension, which is one of the few that I offer, and a bit of background story about that, because I just want to thank you, because you were kind of one of the test what's the most eloquent way I can put it? You were one of the first that went through it, that course when I released it to on Cosmic Gateway, and I had been as I do, I tend to really kind of foolproof as much as I can my modalities and my teachings before I roll it out. Like I do like to have a high level of work, and I feel like I want to create something that's valuable for people before I just throw it out there. Yeah. And we were talking about this morning, I think, how that course got birthed was because of the confusion that a lot of people go through in the twin dynamic and that journey. And it's so beautiful to hear what came of it from you, because ultimately that is my ultimate gift, is that hope that people will step into their own self-mastery and kind of be like where you are ultimately in whatever facet that means for each individual. But as I was pondering on that and kind of creating that, my question was like, how can I create something that will remove the confusion for people? How can I create something that will be tailored for each individual yet can be rolled out the same? So anyway, that was just a side note. So
It's absolutely beautiful. It was the best thing I think I've ever done. There is a lot of practitioners, at least back then and probably still now, that prey on people's desperation and take people's power away from them by making people dependent on the practitioner to provide them with assistance, as opposed to empowering them. And I have to say, Alisha, that having done your program, it has absolutely empowered me to take my power back. And, through this journey, we've all spent money on healers to get us to where we are at. And I can say that most of that money was wasted, but the whatever I've spent with you has been absolutely so important and so powerful. And the benefit to my life in all aspects has been absolutely infinitely compounded. So thank you for that. And I just encourage anyone who is able to seek that out if they're so guided.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I don't even know what to say about that. Sorry, guys. I didn't plan to do a little plug there. It just kind of came out. But I guess a side note is, what I'm planning to do this year is to change the content of that program and to roll it out on a bigger platform, so that it's more accessible for more people. And that is one of the very many projects I am putting together for this year. So keep an eye out for that too. Anyway, we'll go back to now you've got me lost for words. That doesn't happen often. I'm shy now.
Okay, cut the shit, you're recording. You might need to edit this out after. I don't know.
I don't even know how to do that. So
no, just interject a dancing taco. We'll be good. I'm stopping.
Okay. So I don't know if you want to we talk about some current energy where we kind of tap into where it's at, or if you want to pull a couple of cards, or whatever you feel guided to. The people who know me well know that one of my greatest sayings is, the rules are, there aren't any rules, as long as everyone's having fun and respected.
Yeah. I think the energy leading up to the new moon eclipse in a couple of days, I think it's the third for you right now. It's the second here. So the eclipse is on the 5th for me. So I'm not sure, the 6th for you?
I think, yeah, it's the 6th. I haven't checked the exact time, but I believe it's on the 6th.
Yeah. It's at 5:30 something on the West Coast in the Pacific Northwest in Vancouver. So whatever that means for wherever everyone's at. I've been feeling that new moon eclipse energy so profoundly within myself, leading up to New Year's Eve, especially New Year's Eve. I would say it was a huge kind of a pop off. And right before New Year's Eve, it was a very, it was a down low. There was, some purging and darkness that came in, but from New Year's Eve onwards, it was like very much kind of focusing on myself unapologetically so. And I feel like from the people that I've spoken to, the things that I've kind of felt from the energies going on, and I mean, you talk to a lot more people, so you can confirm or add, but there is people who have gone through the journey of falling back in love with themselves and healing so much, is that they don't want anything distracting them or detracting them from the forward momentum that the energy of 2019 is bringing, because there is such a sense of like we've been slowly going up this roller coaster, and it's been like bumpy and scary and you know, there's like ghosts and goblins and pies in the face and a whole bunch of other crap going on. But we're nearing the top of that roller coaster, and I really feel like we have this like downward momentum, this hands in the air, we're gonna like, you know, you know, water spray on the log ride or something, you know what I mean? Like we're about to like free fall into abundance, and it really feels like 2019 is like that. And I feel like the end of 2018, and even a little bit now, we're getting kind of like peppered with tests to make sure that we are keeping our eye on the ball, our eye on the prize, so we're not being distracted by tests. And I think that I personally have been dealing with tests, and a lot of other people I've been talking to as well have been dealing with tests where, you know, okay, you're going to be presented with this person or this scenario with another person or this situation or whatever. How are you going to handle it? Are you going to handle it the same bullshit way that you used to handle it? Or are you, you know, did you learn? Did you snap out of it? Have you smartened up yet? And I think that people are moving through these tests flawlessly, like a hot knife through butter. And that's what I've been seeing, kind of the people that I've been working with, is that they're really kind of moving through these tests. So we're getting kind of like just the need to kind of cleanse and cut and purge and get rid of stuff, because we're like, well, where we're going, you know, we're going to go shopping with the shopping spree, and we don't need all this crap anymore. So, you know, the analogy that I used on my video on my New Year's Eve message on Guidance by Z was, you know, kind of feels like we're cleaning out a refrigerator. And we're kind of getting rid of the old, you know, rotten food in the back of the fridge, and, you know, like the shriveled up lemons and the expired condiments. And we've cleaned that all out, and we're wiping down all the shelves, and, you know, putting the fresh box of baking soda. And now we're going to slowly start putting things in there that belong, you know, putting in our clean water filter with the brand new filter in it. You know, we're slowly, you know, we're going to go grocery shopping. We're going to go get our good stuff, and we're going to, you know, properly stock our fridge, and we're not going to buy the junk food. You know, it's like our New Year's resolutions. We all want a healthy body, but you know what? We want all of our bodies, a healthy light body, healthy emotional body, spiritual body, right? And we're like motivated. And it's not like new year, new me. It's new year, finally the real me. You know, no more of this like who we were with all the layers of crap that we were carrying from all of our, you know, ancestral issues and our past life issues and everything, all the karma that we've been carrying with these cloaks in our bodies. Now we're free. And I really, really feel that sense of freedom. And, you know, I don't feel attached or connected or tied to anything or anybody anymore, and it feels amazing. You know, usually I'm trapped to my phone. I'm on it. I'm like, oh, someone's gonna call, someone's gonna text. I can't lose my phone. I was upstairs cleaning my upstairs for like an hour, and I didn't even care who was calling me, because I'm like, oh, whatever. I need to talk to you. I'll talk to you eventually. It's not a big deal. You know, I did a whole new moon ritual. I wrote down every person, connection, past lover, past everything that I wanted to release. And I did this whole new moon release ceremony, but I did it yesterday because I felt the energies were right on to do it. And I almost set my kitchen on fire, but everything's okay. My alarm did go off at 11 o'clock. My son did not wake up, so this is good. But I did it. And I got rid of it. And I was like, I did it with such intention of like, I'm done. Everybody done, gone, bye. I got you. And now I'm just like thinking about my manifestation journal and writing down what it is that I want to manifest. And, you know, and so much of it is just love for myself. You know, I don't want anyone or anything to distract me from that. I worked way too hard. And I feel like, you know, I talk about myself, but I feel like it's everyone that I've talked to has been like that. So I don't know. I just went on a total tangent, but that's where I'm feeling everything's at.
Yeah, no, perfect. And I was just like, very similar analogies that have come through to me and through my sessions is like, I don't know, but it was like basically the way that I was seeing in the energy body for people was like literally it was being drained out. Like all the analogy of like everything that's been mulched and like churned over and purged and like worked over the last year or a couple of years, it's like it's draining out like muddy water that's draining out, and then like the new fresh, beautiful bubbly whatever, I don't know, is like coming in, and that of course like it lines up just different analogies, and I love the fact that your analogies once again about the food. No, it's beautiful.
I go with what comes to me. Okay, that's what I was inspired with. I was hungry. My car was full of samosas. Okay, I was starving.
I love it. I know I love it. I love it. But yeah, totally. It's and I think you brought up a really important point about like this new moon that's coming in, and maybe like time is so irrelevant. Linear time is so irrelevant. So like midnight on New Year's Eve may like the energies will be in flux. It'll be and it's kind of feels like having this new moon energy so close to New Year's is like, and we've got I think a partial lunar eclipse, solar eclipse.
Solar eclipse, and then the lunar eclipse is 2 weeks later.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you. And so it does feel like this kind of, so I know for me personally, a lot of people have been talking like, or for me personally, it's been like, go, 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 pause, go, 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 pause. But I totally resonate with that thing of like keeping really focused, and like things will come up. Things will always come up to like test us or just see where we're at or a revisit, and we get the opportunity to do things a little bit differently, which is a beautiful thing about the spiral of ascension. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I kind of wonder what's going to happen to the people that, so I'm not the only one that's been doing cord cutting and just like releasing people. And I wonder what that's going to mean for those people that we've released, because I kind of feel like a lot of those people that I've released are going through or going to be going through some stuff, is my intuitive belief, in the next couple of weeks, if not a couple of months. So
yeah, and I think
it's an interesting time for the masculines, I feel like. Probably more so than the feminines, because been there, done that. We're good.
Yeah, there's a lot of that energy, and I know that we're not the only ones that are talking about that. A lot of people are tapping into that kind of collective push, and sometimes sometimes I see it as like we take a couple of steps ahead and we clear the path a little bit, and then this is like flow on, and we could just, I won't even go there. There's a whole other topic, but I guess I want to kind of bring it back to, just because we're, everyone's at an individual level and everyone's exactly where they need to be. And because we're picking up and sensing and going through things that are very similar, if you're not, it doesn't mean that you're doing the wrong thing or you're not in the wrong space. You're exactly where you need to be. And I do see it quite often is like in soul groups, we kind of connect with people who are on a frequency like you and I have, and we tend to go through similar things at the same time, and we can kind of bounce off each other and support one another. And then there's like other soul groups in a different frequency that are going through, what they're going through, and that they'll find people that are similar, and it's kind of beautiful how that works. So yeah, just put that out there, because yeah. Should we do a couple of cards to wrap up just for the week, or for, I don't know,
are we feeling something romantic or not romantic?
I don't know. I'm easy. Do you want to do the cards? Do you want me to grab some cards? I think you should do them.
I've got the romance cards in the hands.
All right, well, let's just roll with that.
I don't know. It's just what I was staring at. Okay, so what is the question?
555 right now.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go in a minute.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Oh, this is a card that just flew out. This is a card that needed to come out. You deserve love. You are lovable. You know, this has been a theme kind of with the people that are kind of going through a lot of that, choosing love, choosing themselves, choosing to honor themselves and to stay committed to their journey for their own betterment. And I think that that's just
kind of
so on point. That, you know, we are worthy of our own attention. We are worthy of our own love, and that by doing so, we are opening ourselves up to bringing love in from around us.
Yeah, so beautifully brought into like a, you know, a conclusion, if you will. You know, it just sums up everything that we've been talking about. So thank you. There's no need for anything else. Like, thank you for pulling that card, and maybe next time we'll do a bit more of a, yeah. But just want to thank you so much, Zahra, for coming and having this cosmic conversation with me. And, you know, thank you for all that you do, and all the people that you assist and support and give love to on a daily basis, you know, professionally and, you know, informally as well. So, but if people do want to connect with you, I'll put the details in the description box. But, you know, you have your Facebook page, business page up. You offer a variety of different sessions that people can, if they feel guided to you, and guided by Z, if they feel guided to, you know, yeah, they can connect with you and book like a guidance session or a reading, kind of. Do you want to talk a little bit about that before we close out?
Yeah, for sure. I offer intuitive guidance sessions. So, you know, I do a combination of using tarot cards and intuitive guidance, and just conversation and counseling. My background, you know, includes a lot of conversations and connecting to people and counseling in different forms. And so it's what I do. I do work with, you know, people who are going through a twin flame journey, but I also go through people who are not going through that divine partnership journey. I also talk to people who are, you know, anything from, you know, trauma, loss, inner child, you know, past relationships. Ultimately comes down to self-love. And that has been, you know, my mantra in my journey. And it's something that I help others see. So it's not something that is a formal thing. It's informal, but it's effective. And, you know, I have helped so many people, and it's something that I want to continue doing. So if anyone is excited to see me for a session, I'm happy to do that. If anyone just wants to come and hang out on my page, I write things that I'm guided to write. And, you know, if anyone wants to read that or take enjoy the Tarot Tuesday.
Yay! So many amazing things that people can access, and I highly recommend that you do follow her and, you know, see, at least, you know, check in and see what it's all about, and, you know, and connect with dear soul sister of mine, because I love what she does, and I can see the effect that she has on a lot of people, and I, you know, just want to bring that to the forefront. So thank you so much, and we will follow on with the next episode when we can find the time, and we'll maybe dive in on a particular topic. So perhaps if you're watching this, and thank you everyone for watching this on the replay. Thank you for being here and connecting with us. And perhaps if there is something specific that has sparked your interest, maybe put a comment in the comment section below, and, you know, questions that you'd like to ask, and then we can kind of hit on that next time around. So thank you, everyone. And until next time, mwah. And we'll connect with you soon. All right.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.